On tonight's CTV News, residents respond to the council's flood plan. The Insurance Council is concerned over EQC's approach to settling land damage now that land's more vulnerable to flooding, and EQC Chief Executive Ian Simpson responds. Welcome to CTV News, I'm Grant Mangan. Environment Canterbury has released information revealing that homes in Christchurch are potentially contaminated. 11,000 properties have been earmarked as having soil contaminated by chemicals or toxic substances such as lead, arsenic and pesticides. The largest concentration of properties is in northern Christchurch. Since 2008, all regional councils in New Zealand have been identifying land where hazardous activities have taken place. Environment Canterbury began contacting the 11,000 property owners today. The pollution impacts people dealing with earthquake-related issues, as they may need to have testing done before disturbing any land. A majority are affected because of land damage and vulnerability to liquefaction. About 250 properties have to undertake a major rebuild. The risk to health is low from living on contaminated land. The bigger risk is from added stress on people already dealing with earthquake repairs. Responsibility for investigating, managing or remediating contaminated land rests with landowners, even if they did not cause the contamination or were not aware of it. The average cost of an investigation is $5,000. CTV will be investigating this issue in more depth tomorrow. Companies involved in the rebuild can expect more scrutiny on their employment practices from this week onwards.
The Labour Inspectorate of the Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment will kick off a series of audits this week after receiving a surge of complaints about migrant exploitation. The Inspectorate has hired 6 new staff to audit companies full-time. The Christchurch rebuild poses a high risk for migrant exploitation, with many workers coming from outside New Zealand. Migrant workers are particularly vulnerable to being underpaid and overworked. Until recently, the Christchurch Inspectorate had only 7 staff and audited companies only after a complaint was received. Now inspectors will select companies proactively. They will check they are complying with the minimum wage and holiday pay and employment agreements. The audits will include inspections on workplace safety, work eligibility, record keeping and visa compliance. The Inspectorate will work closely with Immigration New Zealand and WorkSafe New Zealand. The approach will be to contact companies to outline the records they will need. They will also speak to employees. Breaches of minimum standards will need to be put right, or companies risk the Employment Relations Authority bringing a case against them and a fine of up to $20,000.
So far this year, Christchurch residents have been repeatedly hit hard by flooding. This was caused by high rainfall combined with changed ground levels caused by the earthquakes. The Christchurch City Council's flooding task force revealed on Monday that protecting the 56 most vulnerable properties in the short term could cost up to $13.6 million. The most vulnerable properties are defined as having flooded at least twice since the earthquakes. Another 451 properties have had repeated flooding below floor level. Residents may need to wait at least 3 months for any short-term measures to be implemented. Here's what some had to say about the plan.
I can't see why they can't do it now, certainly in a shorter time than that. The people here, we only need another lot of heavy rain and there's water in the houses, and simple things like sandbagging and pumps should be immediately available.
This is really unfortunate what's happening here, and the people here are really trapped. They've got kind of no short outcomes for themselves, and especially the ones with the families. So I really feel they've got to find a solution before the winter for the ones that are trapped in their homes every time it rains. Not good enough, you know. We've got grandchildren in there, 4 of them under the age of 3, and it's not a great situation to be having little kids in, on top of the earthquakes and everything else the families have gone through.
One of the options they gave us was to lift the house right off the floor, lift it right up. And the other was to lag all round the bottom of the house, but of course that's the water still round you. I have more than a foot of water that first time. all around. Well, it came up, you'll see, just to the lip of the veranda, so it's quite high, really. So they just got to get rid of the water one way or another.
The New Zealand Insurance Council has concerns over EQC's approach to determining whether land is more vulnerable to flooding following the Canterbury earthquakes.
It's no secret some of Christchurch's land has sunk following the earthquakes. The city's mayor and the earthquake recovery minister have both admitted this is part of the reason behind the recent flooding. Behind the scenes, the Earthquake Commission has been working on an approach to determine whether land is more vulnerable to flooding following the quakes. If proven so, homeowners could be eligible for EQC payments. EQC will need the court's endorsement to approve the approach. The Insurance Council has been invited to participate. However, its chief executive has concerns about the approach.
We are a defendant to that because we don't support the approach and have some issues that we want to have addressed.
Those concerns are over the 4 thresholds that need to apply before EQC is prepared to pay out.
They are, refer to flood depth in a single quake, flood depth over multiple quakes in Canterbury, observable damage to land and loss of property value, and then how that property value is determined.
The Insurance Council believes the conditions should be relaxed.
I guess we could argue that, if one of those boxes or 2 of those boxes are ticked, that should be sufficient, but it's all 4.
The ICNZ also wants EQC to pay up when a home is rebuilt in a flood-prone area.
We believe EQC has some liability where floor levels have to be raised when you're doing a repair or rebuild because we believe that the incremental cost of that should be met by EQC since the reason for raising the floor levels is because the land has subsided as a result of the earthquakes and the property is more vulnerable to flooding.
At the moment, those rebuilding won't need to worry about losing insurance. No insurers have withdrawn insurance options for these flood-prone areas yet. The Insurance Council's backing the Council's proposed flood mitigation options as a way to keep premiums down. In some areas with heavy risk, excesses are as high as $10,000 at the moment.
Insurance isn't about continuing to support absolutely certain damage.
The Insurance Council doesn't know when the court proceedings will wrap up over the issue. EQC have been approached for comment but have yet to respond. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A spokeswoman says the Earthquake Commission has asked the High Court to make a ruling on the issue, as increased flooding vulnerability is a type of land damage that has never been subject to a settlement in New Zealand before. EQC first proposed recognising properties with increased vulnerabilities of flooding and liquefaction due to land changes during the Canterbury earthquakes in 2012. Homeowners will be contacted mid-year to update them on progress in assessing their property. EQC Chief Executive Ian Simpson says a declaratory judgment is the easiest way to get an answer on complex legal questions. He says as many increased flooding vulnerability properties are over the EQC cap, insurers have responsibility for repairing or rebuilding them. EQC aims to complete all land damage settlements by the end of 2014. 12 brand new one-bedroom social housing units opened today, the first built since the 2011 earthquake.
Social housing units opened today saw the council's first 5-star accreditation, catering for the elderly and disabled. Spraden's new complex at the Morris Carter block in Dundee Street is the first social housing development to be built since before the earthquakes. Councillor Glenn Livingston is excited that a housing need in Christchurch is beginning to be met.
Social housing, we've lost about 300 to 400, so we've got to replace them. We're up to about 84% of our total stock is open, so we just have to keep going.
It's 3 years on since the earthquakes. Why has it taken so long?
Just the time to get insurance claims worked through, etc. We had to wait on an EQC payment from the government, and we're still waiting for that longer payment. So, yeah. And we did identify before the quakes we needed to replace eventually.
8 months ago, Alfred Roberts was being interviewed for a new flat. Today, 90-year-old Roberts is the first to move into the complex. Moving into a brand new flat is a treat just before winter.
As they say, you've got to adapt with life as it comes day by day. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Roberts is speechless at his new home. He says even when he was in council housing before, it was nothing like it is now. He enjoys the easy access and how well thought out the newly designed flats are.
Very, very nice and well set out and well thought. With access, there's no lumps or anything like that, and sometimes I've even noticed, even in my place, with the mats down, you can trip on them.
Accessible being the key that sets this housing block apart. The Morris Carter flats are the council's first units to achieve LifeMark's 5-star accreditation. The complex was designed to be suitable for older people and those with disabilities. During the planning stages, the City Council chose to cater for different living requirements. LifeMark's General Manager Andrew Olsen says saving ratepayer money is doing it right the first time. 250 units have already been repaired. Councillor Livingston says a request for proposed builds is already on the way.
And we've got some other new builds in progress. We've got some in Aranui, Knightsbridge Lane, should be built about early next year.
And how big is that one?
That's about another 8 units, I think.
Glenn Livingston says now is the time to keep rolling out houses. He says all the talking has been done. Once the funding comes in, the building will begin.
All I have to say is it's very difficult, and we're doing what we can to build houses. We know you wanted them built yesterday.
Joelle Batista, CTV News.
Well, coming up, the housing market is holding steady across the region.
Wild Spirits covers the biggest, most extreme sports events across the planet. From surfing to base jumping, snowboarding to motocross, this series will sure to have you on the edge of your seat. Wild Spirits, Wednesday nights at 7, CTV.
The Home Show Spa Pool sale is on. Hi, Mike from Four Seasons. Save $2,000 on Spa Pool 947 with all the features. Spas from just $5,499 with savings up to $4,000. Home Show sale on now at Four Seasons Home and Leisure, Tower Junction Mega Centre.
Action Removals, offering short or long-term storage facilities, full packing services, comprehensive rates, all fully insured and with 6 vehicle sizes to choose from. Earthquake repairs? Action Removals pack, move, store and return your valuable possessions stress-free. Action Removals, a family business that has been operating in Christchurch for over 10 years. Action Removals, your one-stop removal service on time, every time. 0800 222 526.
Ready to go, mate? Flight leaves at 4:30.
Relax, mate. We'll park at Airpark Canterbury.
Airpark Canterbury, privately owned and operated with a free 24/7 shuttle service. Call 0800 Airpark or book online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
My son's helped me greatly with my independence now that I've got more mobility.
Mum, I've been looking into stand assist chairs from More Mobility. They recline back with a footrest, then when you want to get out of them, they stand you up. You can even sleep on them. More Mobility can bring one out for a free trial. There's even electric beds too. What do you think? For more range and more expert advice, see More Mobility, corner Clarence and Princess Streets off Blenheim Road.
What a difference more mobility makes.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measuring quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom, 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Europe in concert. A new, fantastic international artist performing every week. Saturday evening at 7 p.m, right here on CTV.
The housing market is holding steady across Canterbury despite a recent fall-off in national sales.
New Real Estate Institute data shows median house prices are up 10% from last year in Christchurch and almost 12% up in the Canterbury Westland region. The median house price in Christchurch City is $451,000. Regional Institute Director Tony McPherson says Canterbury first home buyers are becoming more active in the market. There is also continuing demand from investors. Homes are also selling the fastest here, in a median of 4 weeks. Just last month, 786 homes were sold in Canterbury. In contrast, most of the country has seen a slowing housing market and low sales volumes due to Reserve Bank lending restrictions and hiked interest rates. The Christchurch market remains strong due to housing shortage and high demand. McPherson says the pool of listings is starting to increase as more homes are repaired. The latest ASB survey shows most people still think it's a bad time to buy, especially in Christchurch. But the fact that more homes are becoming available has slightly picked up people's confidence in buying a house.
Continuing our political coverage ahead of this year's general elections, Marcus Gibbs met with National's new Wigram candidate.
Forget kissing other people's babies. National's candidate for Wigram has his own secret weapon, complete with a t-shirt signed by the Prime Minister.
Look, if you ever want to remind yourself what you're doing this for, this is it. This is it for me.
1-year-old Johnny will join his father Carl Varley on part of the campaign trail. Carl was only selected in the weekend, but spent part of today meeting potential Riccarton voters.
I feel like you're sort of sitting on the starting blocks of a big 400-metre race, and you're just itching to sort of get it underway, and that's kind of where I am. So there's a bit of nervousness, a bit of excitement, and a bit of adrenaline pumping through.
Carl Varley has held political aspirations since 2002. In the 2010 local body elections, he came 9th out of 12 places. He's planning to topple Labour's incumbent MP, Megan Woods. The Wigram seat has been a Labour stronghold since the days of Jim Anderton. The seasoned politician retired at the last general election.
I think this is an important election, and it's going to be close. So we need to put everything we can in to make sure that we can ensure that we have that continuity of government.
Varley's a business strategist. He spent the last 21 years as a company director, turning struggling businesses into high achievers. At 21, he started his own company, and within 7 years, it was earning $15 million a year in revenue.
I see some of the comments people say, you shouldn't be running countries like businesses, and to be fair, I agree, but you should run them a little bit like your household, which is actually making sure that you live within your means.
At the last general election, 211,000 people under the age of 25 did not vote. That's more than 5% of the country's voters. Carl Varley has a 14-year-old, and he's been quizzing him on why it's important for youth to vote.
It's not just seeking it, it's about actually earning it. And I think it's actually about making sure that the youth actually are understood. And this is from a governance point of view as well, because the issue is not just around the voting, is because people tend to disengage when they feel like their voice isn't being heard. And we're seeing around board tables, for example, where we're not getting that young voice coming through, which is an important voice to get through when you consider how quickly things are changing.
The political game in Christchurch is heating up. Nationals announced 4 candidates so far. Newcomers Carl Varley and Matthew Ducey, and 2 seasoned politicians, Jerry Brownlee and Nicky Wagner, who both hold ministerial portfolios. The Greens will throw David Morehouse into the Christchurch Central ring, while Mojo Mathers will try and win Labour's Christchurch East, a seat the party's held since 1922. 3 other newcomers will try and win seats. Clayton Cosgrove, Riv Dyson, Porter Williams and Megan Woods are all running for Labour. Tony Milne will also try and knock Nicky Wagner over in Christchurch Central, while James Dan will try and tackle the Earthquake Recovery Minister Xylem seat. The campaign will no doubt ramp up as election date draws closer. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
A proposal for a new Rollston school is awaiting a consenting decision to go ahead.
A proposal for a large Rollston school awaits consent before building can begin. The Christian Schools Trust are planning to build the school to house 650 students in the country suburb. Following a hearing on the 2nd of May and a visit to the Springston-Rolleston Road site, planner Rachel Carruthers recommended it be declined. Infrastructure, traffic and parking are all main concerns against the plan. But Trust Chief Executive Mark Larson says the Trust will work with the Council to address any issues preventing compliance. The plan for the new school has been in the pipeline for 6 years, but with significant growth in Rolleston, if all goes well, the Trust plan to open the new school next year. In its application to the Education Ministry, the Trust outlined its Christian special character, a maximum role of up to 300 primary pupils, and a ratio of Christian and non-Christian teaching staff and students. Discussions with the Ministry of Education over state integration will continue until the end of June, and the Commissioner will make a decision in the next 3 weeks.
Still to come, top police brass and justice officials checked out their new home today.
Join us tonight at 6 for DW World News. Informative, lively, international news, breaking stories and global developments. DW News, weekdays at 6 p.m, right here on CTV.
Yuck, look at all this moss and lichen. I'm not getting up there, not in these heels. Time to call Mossbuster.
Mossbuster is a no-bleach, non-abrasive, biodegradable solution that has over 35 years of proven results. You can buy Mossbuster online for less than half the cost of other well-known products and can be yours for less than $1 a litre. You just spray it on and let Mother Nature do the rest, or Mossbuster can do it for you. Check out our website or call the Mossbuster crew for a free quote. Mossbuster, 0800 88 1000.
Come on down to Ferrymead Golf. Care for a game of paintball? How about some swings on the old driving range? Or on our par 3 9-hole golf course? Test your skills on the mini golf course or have a go at the airgun shooting range. Then relax at the Wow Cafe with one of our super succulent Wow Burgers. Whether you want to perfect your swing or are looking for a fun family day out, come down to Ferrymead Golf, 50 Ferrymead Park Drive, right next to the Ferrymead Heritage Park.
Hi, I'm Steve and welcome to Carpet Kingdom. At Carpet Kingdom we stock a massive range of carpets and we're also the largest vinyl stockist in the South Island. And not only do we have an excellent range in store, but you can purchase our stock online. We offer free measure and quotes, we have our own installation team, we ship nationwide, so come on down and see us at Carpet Kingdom, 312 Wilsons Road in Waltham, just off Brougham Street, or visit us online at carpetkingdom.co.nz.
Hi, I'm Caitlin, the naturopath here at Staywell Pharmacy. Working with the pharmacist, I use herbal and nutritional medicine to recommend natural alternatives for your health. This can be to counteract any side effects of your medication, general health advice, or natural options for you and your family. I'm also available for consultations. So come in and see us at Staywell Pharmacy, 27 Shands Road, Hornby. Staywell Pharmacy, live well, stay well.
Al Jazeera News, international news right off the satellite, bringing you up-to-the-minute coverage of world events. Al Jazeera News, weekday mornings at 6 o'clock, right here on CTV.
Top police and justice official toured the site of the Emergency and Justice Precinct site today.
The Prime Minister was here in February, turning the sod on the site of the city's new Justice and Emergency Services Precinct. This grand design will be the first major public building to be built in Christchurch since the February earthquake. Fast forward 3 months, and the site has changed a lot, though the walls still won't be up for another few months. Behind the scenes, crews have been removing 25,000 tonnes of dirt, mixing it with 2.5 tonnes of cement and putting it back into the ground. Once the job's complete, a riprap foundation will sit on top. Top brass from the police, corrections and the justice sector toured the site today. All eyes are now on Christchurch, as for the first time the 3 departments come together under the same roof.
They're making really good progress. This is a really good thing, not just for Christchurch, but really good for the justice sector and for the emergency services coming together.
The new precinct will house about 1,100 staff and be the regional headquarters for the Ministry of Justice, New Zealand Police, Department of Corrections, New Zealand Fire Service and St John. It will also be the city's civil defence base.
It'll be a landmark building for the new Christchurch CBD. I think it brings together a number of justice players into one area.
There's hope this concept sharing space will roll out around other parts of New Zealand.
That's the idea, to look at how it works here, and then as opportunities arise around the rest of the country, to join up in many other places.
The precinct's expected to be fully operational by mid-2017. Another 8 anchor projects will also start construction this year, including the bus interchange, the performing arts, retail and health precincts. Other major projects include the Innovation Precinct and a Metro Sports facility. The children will also be happy once work on the Margaret Mayhew Amazing Place playground is underway. Marcus Gibbs, CTV News.
If you're driving around the central city, CTV's traffic update will assist you navigating the repairs taking place.
Hello travellers, to help you plan your journey around the central city, here's another update on what's happening with the roads this week. Going north through our central city, Here's a few things to keep in mind. Madras Street is down to one lane near Latimer Square, while skirt teams carry out work. Montreal Street is now completely open, from Morehouse to Beeley Avenue, right the way through, so it's a good option during the busy drive home after a long day. Fitzgerald Avenue is also a good option northbound. Each lane is fully open. To keep up to date on what's happening with the Central City roads, keep watching CTV News first at 5, and in the meantime visit the Transport for Christchurch website.
And finally tonight, your regional weather.
Kia ora everybody, let's take a look at today's estimated temperatures. Down there in South Canterbury, Timaru had 12 degrees today, Temuka and Geraldine on 12 degrees. Ashburton 12 degrees for your Tuesday, Methven had 13 degrees, Rakaia 12 degrees for you, Dartfield had 13 degrees today, Leeston and Rolleston had 13 degrees, Lincoln also had 13 degrees and Christchurch a moderate day for you with 13 degrees. Akaroa on 13 degrees also today, and north of the Waimak, Kaipoi, Rangiora and Amberley all receiving 13 degrees. Looking inland, Colvin and Hamness Springs also on 13 degrees and 13 degrees for Cheviot. Further up along the east coast, Kaikoura a moderate 13 degrees today. Let's take a look at the weather in your area. A damp start to the day in Timaru, but becoming dry during the afternoon with southwesterly winds. Tonight's low 6 degrees, tomorrow's high 13. Showers at first in Ashburton, but will clear and cloud will break later in the afternoon, and you can expect light southwesterlies. Tonight's low 6 degrees, tomorrow's high 13. In the Garden City, raining tomorrow morning but dry in the afternoon with cold temperatures and light southwesterly winds. Tonight's low 6 degrees, tomorrow's high 12. Kaikoura, dull and damp for most of your Wednesday, but the rain should ease off during the afternoon. Tonight's overnight low 6 degrees, tomorrow's high 12. A cloudy, rainy day ahead for most other areas tomorrow. Let's take a look at the temperatures. Temuka and Geraldine can expect showers in the morning, then clearing with a high of 13 degrees. Methven, you'll have 12 degrees and 13 expected in Rakaia. Dartfield, you can expect 12 degrees tomorrow, and Leeston, 12 degrees for you. Rolleston and Lincoln, 12 degrees for you as well, and Akaroa can expect 12 degrees as well. And out in North Canterbury, Kaipoi and Rangiora, 12 degrees is set for your Wednesday. Amberley also have 12 expected there. Colvin, Hamness Springs and Cheviot, rain to start and a cloudy day ahead with 12 degrees. Looking ahead for Canterbury, fine and sunny on Thursday and Friday with scattered high cloud and light to moderate northeasterly winds. Looking milder on Saturday with sunny periods at first but high cloud increasing during the day and moderate northwesterly winds developing. Fresh gusty northwesterlies on Sunday with high cloud and mild temperatures. Fine on Monday with some high cloud and moderate northerly winds. And that's your weather update for Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
And let's try and stay warm and dry tomorrow. That's CTV News. I'm Grant Mangan. Good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.